Py4E, and then I'm going to name this file first.py. And you'll notice that when I save this, it syntax highlighted it. That's one of the nice things about a programmer editor. Okay, and so it says, oh, it's got a suffix of .py, so therefore it knows that it's supposed to look pretty with Python and make this one color, make this another color. The other thing that you'll notice is that I now have a folder called py4e. And if I'm in this command line, let me just start that up again. I'll show you how to start the command line again. Command. Now, if I do a dir, I see the folders that I'm in, and one of the folders that you can see here is the desktop folder. So I'm going to say cd desktop, and then I'm going to type the dir command to see what folders are in the desktop. These folders are the same as these folders. These things are kind of virtual folders. py4e is py4e. Now I can type cd, which stands for change directory, py4e, and I can do a dir, and now you see first.py, and that's the same as if I'm diving into this folder. Here's this file, first.py. Windows hides the suffix, which is somewhat annoying and frustrating, but that suffix is there, that file is there. And so for me, one of the things you got to figure out in Windows is how to make sure that you are in the same folder, users, Dr. Chuck, desktop, py4e, and that's the name of this file, and here as well. And now I'm going to run this program. I'm going to type Python first.py. And you see that it ran the Python code. Okay? Another way you can do this is you can type first.py. And that's because this file association has happened in Windows. This doesn't work in Macintosh. This only works in Windows. That all files with .py are expected to be Python, and it knows the Python interpreter where to run it. Okay? And so I've got Python 3.0 installed, and that gets me started, and so I hope that this little introduction about getting things started and writing your first Python program has been helpful to you. We're going to actually download and install Python 3 from python.org on a Macintosh. If your Macintosh for years has wonderfully come with Python 2. So if I type Python -- version, then if I type that, I see that I've got Python 2.0. What we want to do is, in addition, install Python 3. One of these days, Macintosh might upgrade their distributed version of Python 3, but there's so many things inside Mac that depend on Python 2. I'm going to expect that it will always be named Python 3, which is what we're going to call it in a second. So here I am at the python.org downloads, and I'm going to download Python 3. You click here, and I've actually got it sitting here in downloads already because I always do that. And so, I'm going to install this. There is the installer. I'm going to say continue, continue, continue. Of course I agree. I read all that really fast, and now I'm going to install it. Okay. So now that means if I run a terminal, so this of course is start run terminal. So Python 2 is still there, but Python 3 is also now there. So we should have Python 3 installed. So we installed Python 3.6, and so there we go. And that's all it takes to install Python 3 on the Macintosh. So let's write our first little Python program. I'm going to, I like Atom. And so I've got this Atom editor. It's atom.io. Right here, atom.io. Download and install the Atom editor. I like it because Atom works the same on both Windows, Mac, and Linux, and it has syntax highlighting, and so I really like things like that. So I'm going to make myself a simple Python program.
hello world, like we always do. Now you'll notice that it's not syntax highlighting yet, but I'm going to do a file, save, oopsie daisy, file, save as, and I'm going to go into my desktop and I'm going to make a folder called py4e. I'm just going to call this hello.py. Oh, crud. Got to rename it. Rename it. I ended up with 2 dots. Hello.py. There we are. And so now I'm here, and I'm in my home folder. I can go in my desktop, and I can go into that new folder I made, Python for Everybody, and I can see the files. Now, there are ways to run this, and I really want you to learn the terminal so that you really know what you're doing. And so here we are in the folder that has the Python, and then all we do to run it is we say Python3 hello.py, and there we go. And of course this is Python 3 because I'm using parentheses there. So instead of double quotes. But Python 2 is still there, and of course if you just run Python hello.py, it'll be a syntax error or not. Must be they added something. Yeah, because Python is still version 2, but apparently they allowed print in the latest version of Python 2. So away we go. Okay, so again, thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful to you to get Python 3 installed on your Macintosh.
Hello and welcome back to Python as a Language. You'll notice that I'm wearing a hat. Part of the story of the hat is that where I work here at the University of Michigan School of Information, my office is in this building called North Quad, and we call it quadwarts sometimes because it's sort of got a square. It sort of imitates an Oxford quad, and so it seemed to me to evoke notions of Harry Potter. And when we first moved into the building, I joked in one of my classes that we should have a sorting ceremony for all the students as they come into North Quad for the first time. And so that was cool, and I thought that I would belong in Gryffindor, like everyone wants to be in Gryffindor, right? They're the good guys. And my students told me that I couldn't be in Gryffindor, that I had to be in Slytherin. So you'll see me drinking tea throughout the course out of this teacup. It's my Slytherin teacup. I picked that up from Harry Potter World. I went down to Florida and visited Harry Potter World. And the reason that I was sorted by my students into Slytherin is also because I teach Python. And Python is like a snake. And so if you think about the people from Slytherin, they are capable of talking to snakes. And the class that we were doing the sorting was a Python class, and so it sort of made perfect sense that you would have to be in Slytherin if you were the Python teacher. And of course, your name is Charles Severance, and then that sounds kind of like Severus Snape, and so I just accepted that I'm in Slytherin, okay? So you all can be in Gryffindor, but I can't. I'm in Slytherin. So I'm the bad guy. Or the good guy, depends on how you look at it, right? And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, bring you into Slytherin as well, because I'm going to teach you the Python language. Python is the language that we Pythonistas talk. It was invented about over 20 years ago by a fellow named Guido van Rossum, and away we go. Now, even though I'm using this whole snake Slytherin thing, it turns out that Python was not at all named for Harry Potter, because Python was invented, almost 2 decades before Harry Potter was created, and it wasn't for the snake. It was actually Monty Python's Flying Circus was the inspiration for Python, the name Python, and because Guido van Rossum really wanted to create a programming language that, while it was powerful underneath it in its very nature, was a very powerful language, he wanted it to be a language that was fun. And he wanted it to be a language that was approachable. And so that's why Python recently has become so absolutely popular. And it's easy to learn.
but it's also powerful, and that's sort of the magic of Python, is the ease of learning it, the brevity of the programs, the shortness of the programs, and the